And what's going on, you guys? It's me, your boy Scott by Nature TV, and this is my girl, Simply Sakina, and
Yeah.
we are here to see who was wrong. Once again, shout out to Josiah for that music and every damn thing else. Shout out to him.
Come on,
But
Sir
Yes, but we're here for a brand new episode of Who Was Wrong, and we are here to talk about Kenya versus Phaedra, and this was chosen by my guest here, Sakina. And before we get into the beef itself, why did you decide to choose Kenya versus Phaedra out of all of the ones I had on the list already?
Soon as I seen the list, I was like, this one right here. I was so surprised that nobody chose this. B.
Everybody wanted Candace and Monique, child. Everybody wanted Candace and Monique. And
They
Chris got it
toxic.
first. Chris got it first. Because he was the first one that I gave the list to.
Oh,
So he got it first. And then right after him, I think it was Busy Blue or somebody. I wanted Candace and Monique. I wanted Candace and Monique. Then somebody else said they wanted Candace and Monique. So I'm like, everybody wanted that child. Look.
Look, I would not have selected that. I don't know. Just like that whole season was just, baby, we want
Drained.
to leave that in the past where it's
Keep it in
at.
the past. Keep it in the past, child. We don't want nothing to do with that.
I
Okay.
don't want to break it down, nothing.
At all. Okay, but we're here to talk about Kenya versus Phaedra, and this was on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and it started when Kenya first came on the scene in season 5. Okay, now when Kenya Moore first came on the scene, she immediately acted a damn fool as Cynthia's jet beauty. Whatever that shit was about the coochie crack and all of that stuff. But it seemed like at the beginning she wasn't getting along with Cynthia, but she took a liking to Phaedra. And the first thing I think they start out being pretty cool. But then I think they went to Anguilla, and the
Yep.
first thing that happened was Kenya and Apollo flirting with each other. Okay. And Phaedra didn't appreciate Kenya and Apollo flirting with one another. Now I'm gonna say what I felt when I first saw it, then I'm gonna have you say how you feel. Now, when I first saw it, I'm like, now Kenya being disrespectful. Like, how you gonna flirt with that woman husband? So I felt like Phaedra had every right to be pissed, but coming back watching it again, because when I first saw it, this was 2011 when that 2012 when that season first came out. So I was 23. So at that time I was very pissed at Kenya because I'm like, Kenya had no business flirting with her husband. But being 33 10 years later, I'm like, but she should have been mad at her husband too, and not just Kenya. That's how I felt. That's how I feel now. So, how did you feel back then, and how do you feel now? I feel like you still got the same opinion, but
I really don't. Plot twist. But of course, I do think back then, Phaedra, I mean not Phaedra, but Kenya was definitely wrong. But definitely 29 me, baby, both of y'all gonna get it. Especially Apollo though, because with that pull dip, he grabbed a little ass as well. So it's like wait a minute, what's this interaction here? And of course, with us, viewers knowing how attractive or attracted Kenya was to him, because Mary in her confession, Apollo's fine, all of that's like, okay, he could be handsome or whatever, but like the interactions were really, that Anguilla trip was a bit too much for me.
right.
They both
Most
would have got it, especially Apollo.
So, do you think that Phaedra let Apollo off the hook and just kept her venom for Kenya,
Kept
basically?
that venom for Kenya, and that's where she went wrong, because it's the disrespect for me. Like you
Mm-hmm.
playing in my face, you playing with a coworker, you out of order. And of course, Kenya's being enticing, like y'all flirting and stuff. Remember, they went to the it was like a cave or whatever, and she was like, Apollo, are you getting in? And like she had her hair to the side and she was like giving him looks and stuff. It's like, what's happening here? Both of y'all
Right.
get left on this island and it's not gonna be cute. But she left her
Okay,
husband off the hook per usual.
okay, so we both agree that Kenya was dead ass wrong, but she should have given that same venom to Apollo too, because I felt like Phaedra really let Apollo off the hook. Like he was
Mhm.
completely blameless in this whole thing. Kenya was dead wrong, but Apollo was not blameless because he was flirting with her too.
Exactly. We here.
Okay. So after the whole flirting thing, I think the whole workout video drama started. And it was more so about Kenya producing the workout video for Phaedra and Apollo, but then there became this issue with the back end, the money, and all of this stuff. And Phaedra felt like she didn't deserve any back end or anything like that. And Kenya was like, well, I went out of my way to get you this deal. And I feel like if I did that for you, then I should get X amount of money. Phaedra's argument was, well, I never asked you to get me that and blah, 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 blah. So that's where it really kind of started going head to head with that. Now, and my mind, like back then, I didn't understand it back then. Again, I'm just a dumbass 23-year-old. I don't know what the fuck going
You
on.
just
Like,
watch it.
I'm just watching the show. But being 33, I'm watching it and I'm like, I feel Kenya on this because if we working together and as a producer, I want you to have the best video possible and want you to work with the best people possible. And I go out of my way to make that happen. And you just look at me like, well, I ain't asked you to do it, so I don't owe you shit. That's disrespectful to me. I just feel like she was trying to shortchange Kenya on that deal when Kenya didn't ask to do. If I'm not mistaken, Kenya didn't ask to do the production for the video. I think Phaedra came to her for it, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. I don't remember that part. I don't know who asked who. But at the end of it all, you working with her.
It was an
So
agreement. Yeah.
yeah, so she's gonna go out of her way to make sure you have the best of the best. Cause I mean, if she didn't do that, then you'll be dragging her if she didn't. So what's your take on it? Like, what was your take on it?
It really gives Sheree and Drew T. Drew Drew done got all these balloons, the DJ, the cake, the caterer, and Sheree don't want to pay half. That's what it was given. Like, okay, Phaedra, this lady put her heart and her soul into making sure that your donkey booty ghetto name workout DVD was a success. And it's like you don't want to pay up. But it honestly, knowing Phaedra like over time, it wasn't that shocking after a while. It's like, this is how you get down. Like, she's always been shady to me. She's been shady, but like the older I got, back then, at one point, Phaedra was my favorite. But
Mine too.
then I got older and I was like, why the hell did I like her?
Right, because she was so fake. Like, girl, really?
So fake. And I'm like, why did I really like her? I really questioned because I was in my late teens. I was like 19,
Mm-hmm.
20 back then. I was like, why did I like her? I don't know. But yeah, I do feel like she was out of line. When somebody does a service for you, you pay them for that service. That has always been how I've been brought up. So my mentality has been the same since then.
Exactly. Like if you doing work for someone, you should pay them what they supposed to have. It's like even with Josiah. Now he doesn't want anything, but when he's done things for me, like production wise, I'm like, okay, how much do I owe you? I have asked him that before. You don't need
Yeah,
to pay me. Like that's the only reason why I haven't paid because he always say I'm not charging you. I said, now,
right.
I'm like, at some point, you're gonna have to charge me like all this good shit you doing for me and this and everybody praising it, and I have to keep on telling folks, okay, Josiah, that bitch, you're gonna have to get paid at some point in time.
Okay.
However, like for real. So if someone is doing something for me, I gotta pay them. And if she went out of her way to get that deal for you, then you need to give her what she's. She only asked for 10 fucking percent. It ain't like she asked for 50% or 70%. She only asked for 10. That ain't
Because
shit.
let's be real. That video wasn't going nowhere. That DVD was not going anywhere. Like, look at where DVDs at today. Look at where DVDs was at that time. Like, sis, want nobody. And Phaedra sis, I mean, Donkey Booty, the Stallion, or whatever King is, marketing wise, people gonna choose King as over you anyway. Cause I mean, sis, you don't really have that workout vibe. Her body is nice, so I'm not saying that, but you don't have that. You don't give workout, sis. You don't give fitness. But yeah, Phaedra said she was wrong. 1 point
Mm.
for Phaedra. Well, I'll say 1.5.
Okay. So after that workout video issue, it became a bigger issue. Now it's Phaedra is making remarks about Kenya, saying that she's an alcoholic and that she drinks like a fish, and Walter's not her real boyfriend, and all this other stuff. I never known Kenya to be an alcoholic. I never known her to drink like a fish. I don't know where the fuck Phaedra came up with that at.
Lawyer.
What's your what's your take on that part? Because I was always confused about her calling her alcoholic. Like I was always confused by that. And this is at the time I didn't even like Kenya then. And I'm just like, why? Why she saying she an alcoholic? Like I don't understand it.
I think we could definitely peep when Kenya is drunk. Hence, the last season at Charade Party.
Right.
Okay, drunk Kenya is a good time, and obviously that's her in rare form. A lot of people don't see her that way, so it's like grasping for straws. Like, oh, you mad because she trying to charge you for this production of this video, and you mad because you know your husband got a little thing for her, and vice versa. So yeah, you just throwing anything out there that you feel is going to paint her in a negative light. That's what that is. She a lawyer, child. It's just in her
And
nature.
not and not only that, I just feel like Phaedra would say or do anything to run down on somebody's reputation. Because the
Yeah,
first thing she do is go for the jugular. Like she would make up the most heinous lie about somebody just to tear them down. And then you got her airheaded ass fans that believe every damn thing that she say. So
yeah.
it's kind of like, well, she's a lawyer. She's a lawyer. It don't matter if she a lawyer. She sat up there and said Candy tried to drug somebody. Like, I don't get why people still be going up for the bullshit.
Win a
Like,
case, okay? Win a case.
and that continued to go on to the point to where Nene had a shoe dazzle event and Kenya came in dressed like just like Phaedra.
One thing about it, Kenya gonna give us a dramatic moment. Like,
That's what she did, child. That is what she did. That is exactly what she did. Cause baby, that shit was so fucking funny. And it's still fucking funny.
it's funny.
And it's like she was basically reenacting what Phaedra does, and she had a down pack. And then we get to the reunion. If Phaedra's pregnant, she's popping off at the mouth like she hasn't, like she ain't never popped off like that until Kenya came along. Now, what I will say is, I feel like the Phaedra's first 2 seasons, she was not a fan favorite.
No, she was lying about her pregnancy.
Yeah, people didn't even like Phaedra when she first came along. I feel like if it wasn't for Kenya coming on this show, she would not be a favorite. Everybody hated Kenya, so they ultimately sided with Phaedra because they hated Kenya. That's how I
Mhm.
feel.
That's
People
how
don't
it
want to hear
always
that.
be.
Yeah, see, people don't want to hear me when I say that. I said, well, if it wasn't for Kenya, y'all wouldn't even be liking Phaedra because a lot of y'all didn't like her because y'all thought she was fake as fuck.
And she
You know
didn't
what
give
I'm saying?
anything. Like, if you really go back to her first 2 seasons, was it her first 2 seasons? At least her first season, she was lying about her pregnancy. She was lying about, her situation with Apollo. The chemistry between the two of them was just not there. Like, if you look at just their whole relationship as a whole, their relationship was so fake and phony to me. It's like y'all must have an amazing sexual chemistry, because other than that, why are y'all married? Why are
And
y'all
the
together?
and the pickle pictures they took.
the Bugetto baby shower. Like, sis, you just not that girl to me. Like, I'm sorry, you not just over the top, loud and wrong. Like, I just didn't get it.
I never understand it now. Like,
I
ugh.
don't understand me. I still wondering my favorite at one point. Like, girl, what was it?
So then we get into season 6, and that's when the whole thing about these text messages start coming up about Apollo and Kenya texting each other. Apollo said that Kenya was trying to meet up with him in LA. Phaedra took that shit and ran with it. Kenya showed Candy the text messages, and there was no flirtation in the text messages. So at this point, Phaedra was like, well, you was texting my husband. After I told you to stop texting my husband, you continued to text my husband. Now, I will say that I agree with Phaedra on that particular point. Like, if you know we got an issue and I done told you stop, and we've already had a situation where you flirted with my husband, I don't want you talking to my husband outside of me.
Period.
I don't know if that's a I don't know if that makes me insecure or not, but it's like we have had direct issues with you flirting with my man. So why would I be okay with you texting my man? What you think of that?
That's not an insecurity situation. That's
Okay.
yeah, it's some funny shit going on. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Why do y'all even have each other number? Well, I guess they had each other number because of the video.
That
That's the only way that I could see them having each other phone number. Really, everything the way that I go about it now. Don't get me wrong, because I've been really close with my friends' significant others. Like,
Mhm.
but this not your friend.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Y'all already on shaky grounds, and it really stemmed from the flirtation that you had with this woman's husband.
Mhm.
So that is a problem. I don't want you to. You're blocked, baby. The moment that
Right.
you even text me, knowing that I got beef with your wife, baby, I don't want no parts of this. Please stay out of my
Exactly.
inbox. So that
Exactly.
is where Kenya messed up for sure, because you don't want anything to get confused. You don't want any potential, affair situations going on like it end up happening. So no,
Mhm.
I'm not texting you, boy. Lose my number. Why do you have my number? I still want to know how they even got my number.
That's how I feel too. So lose my damn number. So she was wrong for that. So then during season 6, they didn't really go at it like that up until we got to the Mexico trip. And the situation about the text messages came up. I think Kenya was talking to Apollo outside of Phaedra again. Phaedra seen it. They got into it.
That's when they was
Um,
in the lobby. Kenya came.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. They got into it again. And then by season 7, that's when this whole Mr. Chocolate rumor started going around. And then, Phaedra and Apollo were getting a divorce. So Kenya felt like she was vindicated at the beginning of season 7 because Apollo admitted that he lied on her, which she was vindicated. We was all believing that, she was really out here trying to give this woman's husband fellatio because that's what he said and that's what Phaedra ran with. And, she was vindicated. Phaedra did not give her no apology. Phaedra felt like she didn't owe her no damn apology. Do you think Phaedra owed Kenya an apology?
It's like to an extent. Yes, I apologize for, accusing you of doing things that my husband said that you did.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't true. It was a lie. So she does owe her an apology, but at the same time, Kenya does need to be aware of her part of it. Like, you were flirting with this man, regardless of whatever you even said in your confessional that you were attracted to him. You thought he was fine and all of that. So yeah, you gotta take ownership in your part as well. So it's like, Phaedra, you do owe her an apology because
Mm-hmm.
you did run with it, but also Kenya, sis, you ain't totally innocent in this either.
Right, because if you didn't do what you was doing, you never would have got accused in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So, I
So
mean,
Get
to a
it.
certain extent, maybe she owes you one, but in another extent, she really don't owe your ass.
Yeah.
You know. So then the chocolate rumors come around, and Kenya pretty much exposes her the way that Cynthia couldn't.
Child.
Exposes her about the rumors.
Yeah.
Listen, Niecy, me and Niecy talked about Nene and Cynthia. Niecy was going in on Nene. I cannot wait for y'all to see that. Niecy was
She
going in
was.
on.
But
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know,
not Nene. She was going in on Cynthia. I'm
I
sorry.
was
She
about
was
to
going in on
say,
Cynthia. She was
you
going
know,
in on
these love her
Cynthia.
some Nene.
Listen, Niecy was going in on Cynthia. I was hollering. Okay, like just
Baby Cynthia was struggling, like, girl, get it out. What is it? That is one of the most
Woo.
cringiest housewives of Atlanta scenes. Like top five. It might be number one, shoot, because I can't even remember another cringy moment.
That was very cringy. You could tell that the producers told her to say that shit because like I have to fast forward through it when I'm looking
Like,
at the
girl, what
old
is it? Cynthia, say it.
episode. She couldn't even get it out.
Baby was
That's why
choking.
Kenya had to take it over and then put it out on blast. So then that was the Mr. Chocolate rumors. And then after the Mr. Chocolate rumors, it was mainly Phaedra constantly perpetuating this thing about her being a whore, being a slut, all of this other stuff. Even though she was slutting around with Mr. Chocolate, you know what I'm saying? But she
Crazy
acting
history
like,
in her pocketbook.
but she think don't
See.
nobody know. But she think didn't nobody know about her shit. But she talking about
Mhm.
everybody else shit. Okay, so then after that, we get into season 8. Now I don't think that Phaedra and Kenya really went at it like that in season 8. I don't think so. It was some shade thrown, but I don't think it was like any huge thing between them in
Was
season.
that the season that they tried to make it work, that they were trying to be friends? And then, because remember, Cynthia and Phaedra was going through a divorce. Was that the divorce party?
That's season 9 you talking about. Season
That's
8 was when Nene. Yeah, that's season 9, and we're about to get into that. Season 8 was the season that Nene was gone and Kim Fields was on the show. So they
baby, worst season to me.
uh, her all of Kenya's venom was at Kim and not Phaedra really this season. So we can move on to season 9 now. They started off the season being cool, being friends and shit. And I'm just like, when I first saw it, I'm like, this ain't gonna last. This shit ain't gonna last. So they being cool, and all of a sudden, they are in Hawaii for their trip. And they're throwing a divorce party for Cynthia and both Phaedra, because they're both going through a divorce. And Phaedra wasn't here for it. She, said the trifling person that texted my husband and all this other stuff. So it brought them right back to where they just came from. And Kenya felt like, you know what I'm saying, they had gotten past this shit already. So why she bringing it back up? So this is probably like the ending part of this because this was Phaedra's last season.
Mm-hmm.
So in your words, what was you thinking when that came up? For me, I said I knew this shit was gonna happen. I knew Phaedra didn't forget that girl. That's how I felt. What did you think when you saw it?
Phaedra is fake because you done went through all of this. Now, granted, you, for me, Kenya, I don't think that it was a good idea to throw this divorce party because you do know the history behind this woman or her marriage and you. You already know that, that was the bulk of y'all's beef. So
Mm-hmm.
for you to then decide to have this party, it's like, girl, I mean, thank you, but it just was in poor taste. But
Mm-hmm.
for Phaedra to handle it the way that she did, first of all, it was a major cop out for the way that she was acting like she didn't feel good and she wanted to go back to the room. And then Portia come in there and you talking all this shit. It's like, you
Mm-hmm.
really don't want to make amends with this woman because
Right.
if you felt that way, that could have easily been a conversation versus you going back to the room and all those feelings coming back up. And I understand, we human, sometimes we react on impulse and stuff, but I feel like if you really wanted to keep peace with Kenya and if you were really invested in moving forward with her in a positive light, you would have simply had a conversation with her and you could have still expressed how you felt without ruining the relationship and starting back at square one.
I agree. I agree. I agree because I felt like Phaedra totally fucked that up because she was still holding on to the bullshit. In my eyes, I feel like this: if we having a dispute and we say that we're gonna get past it and we're gonna get over it, let's get over it. Let's not keep bringing up the past. Now, for me, if I ain't fucking with you, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm fucking with you.
Exactly.
It's done so. Like you better ask them. If I don't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm fucking with you. I don't fuck with you. You gonna know it. I ain't. And Phaedra got this thing with her where she'll pretend like y'all cool, but in all reality, y'all really not cool.
She did it to Candy.
She did it to Candy. Had her thinking they cool and they wasn't. You know what I'm saying? And that's that fake ass shit. That's that fake ass shit. So when it all boils down, who was wrong in this? Kenya, Phaedra, or was it a draw?
Baby, it was a draw. It was a draw.
I agree.
It was a draw because in certain situations I could see both sides, but it's just kind of like, okay, one person was more, they was more wrong than the other person.
Yeah,
But
because it's like, it's kind of like it was set off by one person and then it kind of snowballed and they were both doing shit to each other. And it was just like, so yeah, that's pretty much a draw, child. That's pretty much a draw. So with that being said, y'all.
Weird.
Right. So with that being said, y'all, this was Who Was Wrong with me and Sakina. Now, Sakina, can you please let the people know where they can find you and what your channel is all about?
So, we like to party and kick it on my channel. You can find me right there, the name, Simply Sakina. That is my YouTube channel. It's also my social media handles. My Instagram is simply_Sakina. So if you're interested in, following me there, do that. I do live tweet on Twitter. So if you're interested in that, follow me there. But yeah, I just do reviews on Housewives of Housewives of Atlanta ain't on right now. Housewives of Potomac. I'm doing Salt Lake City. I'm doing Beverly Hills. Reunions, all the reunion parts. I didn't cover the whole season, just the reunions, and I think that's it.
Well, all right.
Love.
Oh, you be forgetting all about Ready to Love, child. Well, with that being said, you guys, we are out of here. Thank you once again, Sakina, for doing this with me. I definitely appreciate it always. We work together on the panel any fucking way, so why wouldn't I do this?
Right. Why you didn't invite me the first time, though? Okay.
I wasn't thinking. But we're out of here, y'all. Until next time, we'll see you later. Bye, y'all.
Bye.